World Youth Day has launched its website and unveiled its logo as Portugal prepares to host one of the world's largest gathering of young Catholics in August 2023. Initially, the worldwide event was scheduled for the year 2022, but given the economic recession and social strains caused by COVID-19 restrictions, it was more than reasonable to postpone it to the following year. This gives aspiring pilgrims and the organizing committee ample time to prepare. The Pope announced that the Portuguese capital would host the global Catholic gathering at the closing Mass of the last International World Youth Day held in Panama City in January 2019.
Como dijo el Santo Padre,
as the Holy Father said,
tenemos ahora que salir de aquí y poner en práctica.
Now we need to leave from here and put into practice everything that we have learned.
Y el próximo Jornada
And the
Mundial
next
de la
World
Juventud
Youth Day
se tendrá en
will take place
Portugal.
in Portugal.
Lisbon, a city of 505,000 people, is around 75 miles from Fatima, one of the most visited Marian pilgrimage sites in the world. The 2018 report, European Young Adults and Religion, found that Portugal has one of the highest levels of weekly Mass attendance among young people in Europe. The logo, featuring the Blessed Virgin Mary in front of a cross with the colors of the Portugal flag, was designed by Beatriz Roque Antunes, a 24-year-old who works at a communication agency in Lisbon. The Marian logo was designed to communicate the World Youth Day theme selected by Pope Francis. Mary arose and went with haste, from the St. Luke's account of the Virgin Mary's visitation to her cousin Elizabeth after the Annunciation. It is common for millions of young people to be present in this event, to live and celebrate their faith with others from countries all over the world, accompanied by the presence of the Pope. The most emphasized and well-known traditional theme is the unity and presence of numerous different cultures. They proclaim their own theme of Catholicism by chanting in their own distinct languages, singing their national songs, waving their flags, and displaying other national declarations. National objects are shared between pilgrims, such as flags, shirts, bracelets, crosses, and other Catholic icons that serve as souvenirs. Some even challenge each other to collect and trade as much souvenirs as possible. World Youth Day can be considered a breeding ground for vocations, as young couples propose for marriage during the event, and others feel a deeper attraction to the religious life and several years later become priests or sisters. A unity of acceptance is also common, with all the cultures coming together to appreciate one another. It is an opportunity for young people to be impelled by the love of Jesus through the expression of unity, and to see with fresh eyes the immense beauty of the one, holy, Catholic, and Apostolic Church. It is to awaken in each young person a missionary spirit that takes the presence of Jesus everywhere they go, a common exhortation given by the popes in their homilies when they officiate over the closing Mass of the events. Several groups from Belize can testify to this memorable experience, such as the Light Youth Group, Divine Mercy Youth Group, John Paul II Junior College students, St. Joseph Youth Group of Sokots, and St. Francis Xavier Youth Group.
When we were there, it was really amazing, even from the airport to the end of the trip when we were saying, when we left the church in Panama City. It was so amazing to see the Universal Church gathered in one location to just worship God for 2 weeks. And that it's amazing how how the Pope can just bring all the youths together. From the start, you don't even know any of those people really, and it's like you knew them for so long, and it's simply because of our love for God that brought all of us together. And that was the most amazing part of the whole trip, just seeing how so many youths from different backgrounds, different countries, come together to worship God, and especially at the vigil when over 1 million people were there throughout the whole night, camping out and through adoration with the Pope. It was really amazing, and I think that's what brought all of us together, was simply our love for God. Yeah.
Since it was a sort of like we had to share our high, low, and God moments every day, and so it's difficult to actually pinpoint one high, low, and God moment. But if seeing the Pope wasn't a high moment, then I don't know what was. I think that I saw him 4 times, and the first 3 times I recorded him, but the last time I didn't record him. I just wanted to enjoy the moment because, you know, just like holding the camera and all of that was a bit of work for me, and I couldn't just enjoy the moment. So the last time was really when he was going to Mass, the final Mass, and then I could have really enjoyed that moment. A low moment would be at the end, having to leave my host family, especially the one at Panama City. They were very loving, and so leaving them was like leaving part of me, and I felt really in place with them. And my God moment would be just everything, but to be specific, it would be to hear God's voice calling me to sanctity, which is what was the goal of the World Youth Day, was to reveal to every one of us the mission that we have in our lives. And so all of us are called to sanctity, but the way we do that is very different in each of our lives. But God, I clearly heard Him speak to me, calling me into being closer to Him. And many times I've thought that sanctity would mean going to the extremes, giving my all to God, and it is giving my all to God, but I always thought of being like a Mother Teresa or a St. John Paul II. And so experiencing this and experiencing the joy of being a youth and being able to serve Christ in the youth is what really struck me.
That was beautiful. And then there also in this same ground, they had like thousands and thousands of little confessionals for different languages. And we took them there, and they went to do their confessions there before the Mass. Mm-hmm. And there, you know, the guy who was our guide, he said, you know, when he saw the amount of people lining up to go to confession, you know, he reckoned and he said, I need to go to confession because I hadn't been to confession for like 20 years. You know, and for him, he says, you know, look, like when we were leaving, you know, like we had like so many farewells there in Panama City. Like we had one rosary like the night before. Like after the Sunday Mass, we had a rosary there with the vigil. After the vigil, we had one family say, we'll make soup for you guys after you come back. Another family says, look, tonight you come to our house, we bring all the neighbors, and then we say, okay, we do a rosary, and then we have food. The following day, the Monday before we left, you know, we had a mini retreat on top of a mountain where they'd have a big statue of Christ, so that the youths could recollect on all their the graces they received, and you know, what will they do with these graces that they have received when they come back to Belize?
From like the other people that they met on their way.
Yes.
So I just wanted to thank you for, you know, sharing what it was like being able to, all the different experiences that you guys went through, because it's, I remember on a Kairos retreat that I had went on, that they said that people are God's language. And so when you're maybe interacting with someone who's mean or rude to you, maybe that's a challenge to try and maybe to diffuse the situation, maybe to be kind to them, because most of the time people who are mean to you, they probably have it worse on their own selves, to try and take the happiness away from other people. And the whole point of the World Youth Day is to get unity and to be one with God.
The ministers of these youth groups take the initiative to execute fundraising activities to have the sufficient funds to be able to attend World Youth Day. Some fundraising examples include recycling, raffling, bake sales or barbecue sales, serving the parish, asking for sponsors, hosting a concert or talent show, car washes, excursion trips, etc. It is hefty work for both the youth group and the ministers to raise funds, but the moment they arrived to the country hosting the event, they realized that it was worth every drop of effort and sacrifice.
Quiero volver a repetir a los jóvenes chilenos: asumid vuestras responsabilidades. Estad dispuestos, animados por la fe en el Señor, a dar razón de vuestra esperanza. Vuestra mirada atenta al mundo y a las realidades sociales, así como vuestro genuino sentido crítico que os ha de llevar a analizar y valorar juiciosamente las condiciones actuales de vuestro país, no pueden agotarse en la simple denuncia de los males existentes. En vuestra mente joven han de nacer y también ir tomando forma propuestas de soluciones, incluso audaces, no solo compatibles con vuestra fe, sino también exigidas por ella. Jóvenes chilenos, no tengáis miedo de mirarlo a Él. Mirad al Señor. ¿Qué veis? ¿Es solo un hombre sabio? No. Es más de eso que eso. ¿Es un profeta? Sí. Pero es más aún. Es un reformador social, mucho más que un reformador, mucho más. Mucho más. Mirad al Señor con ojos atentos y descubriréis en Él el rostro mismo de Dios. Jesús es la palabra que Dios tenía que decir al mundo. Es Dios mismo que ha venido a compartir nuestra existencia, cada una. Al contacto de Jesús despunta la vida. Lejos de Él solo hay oscuridad y muerte. Vosotros tenéis sed de vida, ¿cuál? De vida eterna, de vida eterna. De vida eterna, buscadla y halladla, en quien no solo da la vida, sino en quien es la vida misma, Él. Este es, amigos míos, el mensaje de vida que el Papa quiere transmitir a los jóvenes chilenos. Buscad a Cristo, mirad a Cristo, vivid en Cristo. Este es mi mensaje.
delegation from Panama is now scheduled to pass across an icon to youth from Portugal November 22nd, the Feast of Christ the King. World Youth Day, which is typically held on a different continent every 3 years, was established by Pope John Paul II in 1985.